Hi all, it's Kylie from Kylie's Card Crafts. I can't even remember my name today. Thanks for joining me. What I'd like to do today is some more tags for our journals, but I thought I'd like to show you a different way of using your stamps. Now, rubber stamps, clear stamps, etc. And some tissues. We used to do this years ago, and I thought I'd bring it back out because there's so many new paints and inks and all the rest around these days, whereas we used to just use the chalks and the dusting powders and stuff like that to do them, probably 10 years ago. But they make the most wonderful embellishments. So that what you end up with are these. I don't know if you can see these. Can you hear the scratch? What they are tissues. So you've made a mould with your rubber stamps or your clear stamps, just your stamps. So this has then been painted in the silver, and it's a distress paint that I think I've used, forest moss on the actual branches and the flowers. This beautiful one, this beautiful fairy, is a Lavinia clear stamp. But you can see I haven't cleaned my stamp, so the black ended up with the impression on the tissues. So I've left that black. Now, the difference between these is this one is where it's pushed onto the stamp. This one is where it's been peeled back off. So we've got the negative or the positive. It's up to you which way you want to use it. They are very, very easy and simple to do. It's a matter of just getting a stamp. This is just a normal rubber stamp. Darkroom door one again. You know how I love my darkroom door stamps. Same with that one. And they're off Friendship Flowers. So it came out very early on in 2009, but they are all still available. Rachel keeps all her stamp sets current, so you can still get them. They're not, of course, in the tin anymore, but it's one of my favourite stamp sets because I love these flowers. So you can see this is this one, this is this one. Use these ones all the time. Very quick and easy to do. Right, I'll have a paint palette. You can use PVA glue. I use my normal white glue just because I'm too lazy to go get another glue. Put some glue in your palette if your glue is working. There we go. Get a pen. Get him going. You don't need too much, so you'll just do a mix of glue and water. I just used my water bottle from my misting bottles. Just a little bit of water. Or a lot of water. Whichever way you want to go. Do your lid back up if you're using that. Now, the brushes that I use for this is what they call a stipple brush. So it's like your big round brushes, but they're flat on the end. I find they're the best to get the best impression with the stamp. So I'll mix my glue and my water. Okay, you can see it's not a very gluey mixture. Okay, more water than glue. Doesn't damage your stamps. So with your tissues, and I've put tissues somewhere, here we go. So the tissues that I use are a 3-ply tissue, and then I pull them into their 3 of the 3-ply so that they're a single ply each. Lay it over your stamp, get some glue. The first one's the hardest because the tissue wants to come back up with your brush. So all you're doing is popping it onto your stamp as far down the stem as you want to go and just working your way in. And this is why the stipple brushes are good, because they push down into your stamped impressions. So we've got him nice and wet. We'll grab another one, layer him directly on the top. You can see I haven't gone back for more glue. I'm still just using the glue that was on the initial tissue. Then I might go back for more glue as I go. I find about 8 layers will do it. You can go more if you like, depending on the impression that you want. So you can see that stamp coming through those. So I can see that it's starting to get a little bit drier there. So I'm just going back around. Another layer. And just keep layering up until you're happy with the impression. As I said before, you can use the positive or the negative. I tend to then just leave these to dry overnight. If I'm going to do them, I'll come home from work, I'll sit down at my desk and I'll do up 2 or 3, depending on what I'm looking at making up that week, and then just leave them to dry the next night and go on to a different project. The next night when I come home from work, they're all completely dry and I can do what I want with them. I have no idea how many layers I'm here because I've lost count. See, and they say we're multitaskers. I can't count and do. Maybe I just can't count. All right, we'll have to stop in a minute and have a look and see how many layers I've got. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'll give you a couple more. I'll put a smaller one in there. I've got all different size tissues. Some I'll cut down, some I'll just cut in half. Just depends on what's sitting on my desk. I'm assuming that you could do these with serviettes. You know, your plain backing where you peel off your serviettes. I reckon they would work as well. Not quite certain, I haven't actually done them. So if anyone's done them, please mention in comments on how they went. Love to know. All right, so here's my last layer. So now I've got 8 layers. You can see, and I'll bring it right up to the camera in a moment. Push him right through, and that's why I like my stipple brush, because it really pushes in to those areas. And I'll move that away. So because it's just sitting on my glass mat, it adheres a little bit to my glass mat, so I've just got to be careful lifting it up. So can you see? How's that? Is that focused? Yep. Can you see how it's all gone in? Leave them to dry, as I said before. And I'll find a clear space on my desk or on the floor. Bear with me. All right. Here's the two. I did a couple last night when I came home from work, as I said. So completely dry. And look, in all honesty, I think they were dry before I went to bed last night. It's fairly warm here at the moment. I did these probably about 5 o'clock, 5:30, and they were dry by midnight last night. So I've done that one, and I've done that one. This was a new stamp that I had, so I just wanted to trial him out. Right, so very carefully turn him over and peel him off once he's dry. So see how your stamp just peels away? And you'll see you've got your negative image through here. It doesn't damage your stamps at all. My stamp is still as good. It's not sticky. It's, you know, if anything, it's cleaner. So my stamp is still fine. And there is my image. Now there's my negative. And there's my positive. So with this one, I really like the top layer, as in the positive, because I get this beautiful textured finish with my tissues going around. On the other side, you've got a beautiful flat image. So they're so easy. Right, this one I've never tried before, and he's a full rubber block. So let's see. It's always worth oh no, he's going to come off. Oh, ooh, that's nice. That I really like. Yummy, yummy, yummy. Okay, so what I'll do from there is trim off my excess tissues. Found my new favourite. I'll just trim it down to a little bit of an edge to start with. And down. All right, because because this one has wording, you can't really use it that way. Can we or can't we? Yeah, might be able to. It's going to be the same thing. 7 that all works. That all works. All right, so we'll trim him right off now to the edges. Because it's all been glued down, it's not going to come apart. Oh, yummy. That one's big nice. All right, and what do you do with them? If you're like me, for the most part, you'll sit them on your desk and they're sitting there ready to do something with. And you'll lose them and all the rest. But every now and again, I'm good. I will go further with them. So, there's a little butterfly. That was a butterfly stamp. Again, a dark room door butterfly stamp that I've then painted up, playing around with the different colour paint that I had and trying to get it to work. It had gone off. It's not really my colour, but I will probably, you know, I might gesso over the top of that a little bit and fade it all down and pop him on a front of a pocket. This one, again, I was playing to see, right, it's a wooden stamp, and I wanted to see with my layers again. Now, this guy only had about 3 layers, so he's very, very flimsy. You can see the difference in that and the difference in that. This has got 8 layers, this has got about 3 or 4, hardly any layers. But then, look, he still comes out fine, and what I've then done is just gone over him with my blending tools. Just gone lightly over the top so it's picked out the embossed areas in brushed corduroy, and then popped my blending tool in the centre to go over the face of my clock in walnut stain. And what I'll actually do with him, so I was in the process of doing that. I'll move all this. Oh, put the lid back on my glue. Right, because this is where I then go off into a different project, like I said last night. So I'm just going to make a quick tag for this guy. Bit of offcut that I had from another journal. I've gone round the outside edge in brushed corduroy. I've then stamped in a sepia ink with this one, which I think is a Tim Holtz stamp. And then got my walnut stain. I used walnut stain or vintage photo, I can't remember which one I picked up, in my distress stains, and just flicked it over the top, just so that I get these dollops. I've gone to one of my dictionaries and cut out a few bits and pieces, or torn out a few bits and pieces. So what I'm going to do is we'll glue this guy down. So just around the edge. And on my raised bits, pick you up. Because this is only the 3 layers, it doesn't have a great deal of difference, and it is a little bit transparent. So there you go, you learn something new every day. Right, so with my other ones, move my tissues to get my scrapbook back out again. And different dictionary. I don't want it that large. That one. Make you just a little bit deeper. Give you a bit of glue. We'll go timepiece down the bottom. And time. How's that? Timeless is not going to work. You won't fit. All right, very quickly. There's that one. Now, my Lavinia. We'll do this one first. It's already painted and all the rest. So, little piece of card should fit that. Oh, I've always got scraps of cream-coloured cardstock in strips and whatever else sitting around so that I can, you know, grab one out. I've played with an embellishment. I've made up a new embellishment and I want to do something with it. So we'll go there. So that will fit that one beautifully. Bit of script, but from a gardening book. I'll get rid of the side piece. And I'll adhere that to that one. So I'll use my glue stick again. I might get rid of the gluing section from that. All right, clear one, or a clean one now anyway. All right, straight down. Move you over to the side. Now, it was that side I want, wasn't it? Go to my side that's already there. Push that one down. Let my cloth just give him a really deep push. One, it pushes out all the excess glue. And two, it gives it a really good adherence. So I've got that. I'd actually like to continue to tear this because I like that slightly edged look. I'll keep you there. Just my little ruler down here on the side of that. And that one as well. Right. So now I've got a slightly rougher version. It's still a little bit too much for me. So I'm going to sand it just with a sanding block, which just, so you can see what's happening to my words. So now they're going in and out and they're not quite as in your face, I suppose would be the best word for it. And it also, there's two reasons I like to do this. One, it gives me this wonderful variegated look, I suppose. We are talking a gardening book. But the other reason is a lot of books, the paper is a little bit shiny. And there'll be inks, certain inks that don't take to shiny as much. So the distress inks that I use all the time don't overly like shiny cardstock. My permanent archival inks do, but when I'm going around my edges and I'm using the distress inks, they don't like the shiny paper. So, and they'll take a long, long time to dry. And in some cases, they won't dry at all. So I tend to get rid of that gloss feel. So now I've got smooth feel without it being gloss, and I've got a lighter area for my words. What I'll do then is my standard, so brushed corduroy, and I'll just go around my edges. Very rough. I like rough. That side will end up being a journaling side, so I'm going to make sure I go around that. Just a little bit, and that'll end up having lines or something like that ready for journaling on. Now, we might give him a flip too. So we'll stick with that walnut stone. Do remember to wipe up after you. Now, where's that going to go? I'm going to lose most of that, aren't I? Like my fingers already. This is why I work on a glass mat, because it'll all just be wiped off. Not on my fingers. That'll stain my fingers forever now. It's all right. Just proves I'm a crafter. All right. That'll all just wipe off now. Where I get big blobs, I like to run them. See how they start to run? Two reasons. One, I like the runs in them. And two, they don't take long to dry. So just while he's drying, he won't take long. You can see how these ones are already dried. I could pop a couple of colours in that. Let's do that. Right, vintage photo. Vintage photo. Let's just go some peeled paint. Why not? Ugh, that's a bit yucky. That's a bit yucky. Obviously left that open a little bit. Right. Now we'll go back to our peeled paint. Right. Oh, he splats beautifully. Okay. Now we'll wipe again and leave that to dry. Just while we go on to our last one, and I'll show you what I'm going to do with that Lavinia stamp. I'll just run those ones. Yeah, so you can see how that's going to then just see how he's going to finish. Very quick and easy. And something a little bit different. Situ over there just to dry. And what I want to do is my Lavinia stamp. Always move your workings. So that was where I just did that walnut stain. But that's all right. It's not on my image. And if I turn it over that way, it's beautiful. Right. My Lavinia stamp. I love these fairies. So she's going to fit beautifully on that. But what I want to do with that, apart from do up my glue, is I'm going to stencil her, and I've just gone to more of my distress inks, and I'm going to go in 3 different shades of blue. So going that way, putting my brushed corduroy away, getting a clean one. Because they're all in blues, I can use the same blending tool. And I'm just going to give the whole thing a finish. Because this is a clean blending foam, it's going to take a little while for the ink to start really coming through on it. Just takes a little while for the ink to soak through onto your foam. So whenever you, and because I wash my foams occasionally when they get too gunky, or if I've used it for a specific colour, like I am today with the blues, at the end of this I will wash this out so that I've got clean ones, or cleanish ones, sitting above my desk. I have my antique linen, my brushed corduroy and my walnut stain permanently sitting there. And then I have clean ones sitting, or cleanish ones, sitting around so that I can change them at any stage. Put the lid back on that one. All right, now I'll go into weathered wood. So same blending sponge. So now what's happening is it's darkening this up. I want to turn that round. Don't want too much on the back. So if I turn my sheet around, because I want that as a journaling posse, I need to just wipe some of these so that it doesn't pick up all the ink. I'm going to turn him around that way. And going back over. Okay. A little bit darker. So we'll move our weathered wood, and now we'll go into stormy sky. So we've got our 3 different blues. This to darken him up. I can't get it as dark as I want. What I'll do is I'll play with a couple of other blues. So I will probably go into Faded Jeans, which is a darker one, but just around the edges. Just want to move him around again. Turn that around. Going over. Try not to put your fingers on it too much. It will leave fingerprints. Because the ink is wet, you'll find that you'll end up with fingerprints on it, which you can take out with the blending, of course, but not completely, because they've taken up some of the layers of ink that you've got going onto your piece. So you can see where I just left that there. I need to try and get rid of him. Now, I'll wipe that, and I'm going to go into my faded jeans. There we go. So faded jeans is my nice dark blue. And now that's deepening that up. There is a method to my madness. What I want is a dark and stormy night. So just darkening, but I don't want it too dark that we lose the effect of our fairy on there. All right, let's have a look at that. That's looking pretty good. I'm happy with that anyway. A little bit of black soot would have looked nice around the edge, but I think that container is not here. Let's have a look. No, I haven't got black soot sitting here. It's round the corner. So we'll just deal with this one. God, I love ink. Right, I've got a stencil here. And I'm going to, I want like so. So I can see where my stencil is. I'm going to use a little bit of washi tape, just a little bit, where I can see that there are no little stars. And another little bit, or a big bit, or something to that effect. Let's have a look. Set you there. Ugh. Thank you, part 2. Like that. And like so. What I'm going to do with this one now, that's still moving, so I'm going to put some more washi tape on it. If I go up like that, then I've gone to where those guys are, and I think my washi tape's coming towards the end. That's a bit better. Right, I'll just watch what I'm doing. How's that? Right, and so what I'm going to use is my gesso. Like that. Now, if I was organised, oh, I have. Haha. Wow. All right. And, excuse me, I'm going to try and reach in. There we go. And a little bit of a palette knife. Sit you there in the mess. And I'm just going to scrape over to give myself some stars for my fairy to sit on. Just going through that one, down the end. Now, have I got them all? Missed that bit. Lovely. Oh, I missed that one. So now I'm just going to scrape off my excess. Means less cleaning up. Ugh. That one. That one. And that one. How's that? Right. Sit you there. Sit you there. So now we'll see what we've got. Look at that. Oh. So here and here. That obviously moved. That's all right. So if I pick this up without dropping it, then you see now our little stars. How awesome does that look? I use my cloth again to wipe up this. About time for a new cloth, I'm thinking. All right. How's that? That look all right? Once again, when that dries, look at that. Look at my fairy on her now. What an awesome tag does she make. Again, I'd get some dictionary wording and pop in along here, tuck some things in. Let's have a look. I haven't actually got any. I was just so excited about my stamps that I didn't bring over any. Oh, a little bit of lace maybe. Just double check that the back of that. I know the back's still nice and clean. Best thing about gesso is if you do get it on your glass mat, it just scratches off later on once it's dry. So yes, nice and easy to clean up. All right, but while we've been talking and doing that one, this one is now fully dry, so we'll sit you aside to dry. How are we going for time? Pretty good. So this is our other one. This one's going to be stuck on here. Oh, that's come up really nice. Just gonna bend that because it's a little bit bent where I took it off the stamp, and I'd like it flat again. As we're using the positive side with this one, we've got lots and lots of nice flat areas that we can use our glue on. I didn't put my lid on this a while ago. Got lots of pins sitting around for just such an occasion because I never remember to put lids on. All right, let's have a go again. Here we go. You can feel that it's all scratchy. Kind of reminds me of a fiberglass mould, if that makes sense. It does for me. I don't know if you know what a fiberglass mould is, but yeah, it just, even though it's tissue, it's so solid now with the glue and the water that it is a full mould. Now, I don't know whether you could do these as a mould and use them with clay and then fill them with clay. That might be an idea. Might have to try that. All right, so down to this little bit. How are we going for glue there? Might put a little bit more in that one. Doesn't matter if it oozes over to the sides and that centre bit. All right. That's looking all right, isn't it? All right. I just have to go side on. Make sure my words are up the right way. I've done all that work, so I want to make sure it's all spot on. Okay. Push you down. It is solid, so you can push down. It's not going to flatten your embellishment. How's that looking? Probably remembering to put your lines on the back prior because it's a little bit bumpy now. Look at that. Like that. Still need something else. Still need something else. I want. What have I got in my bits here? No, I want a really thin lace. That one might work. Take you off there. Oh, I just put my lace in my stencil that had all the gesso over it. It's fairly dry. So I put that there, tie you in a knot. So just a standard knot, or a standard knot for me anyway. I don't know what it's actually called. I did go to guides when I was a kid, but it was a long time ago. All right. Sitting here there like that. You down like that. How's that? I will need my Helmo 450, which is my lace glue, and a little bit of scrap, just to see if it's working. Because once again, I don't do up my lids. I get all excited and forget. See? Glue in question. Put the lid back on that, shall we? Right. So where did I want to go with this one? Round about there. So once again, if I use my grid, I can go in my straight line, up and over, like so. Give him a fair bit. Pull him over. I want my knot to be about there. Hold him down for a little while. Different glues take different amounts of times to dry. Use what you find works for you. Ugh. I have the Helmar 450, which is a quick dry one. So it's adhering already, but it's I'm sure there's others that are out there that are better, if that makes sense, because this is, I just get so messy with this. Right, so I'll turn him over and trim him off. Oh, no scissors. I had scissors. There we go. Don't want to cut off my rough pieces of my book page. I just want to cut off that, like that. Yeah. I'll make you a little bit smaller, so we'll go back to that second one. There we go. That'll dry clear. So at the moment you can see that the lace is wet, but that will dry clear. Maybe it should have gone down there. Oh well. How's that for a quick one? Okay, so with these embellishments, these beautiful, beautiful embellishments, and just another way to utilise your stamps. There are so many things you can do with stamps. They're just such the ultimate add-on to any stash. Now, this guy is, because we've used gesso, it dries nice and quickly. That's looking rather awesome. There's a few slightly wet patches up there. If I had my heat gun, I'd just give it a quick zap and that'll dry it, but I didn't bring that in, and this house that we're in at the moment has very few power points. So my heat gun tends to sit in another room and I run over and I use it, or I'll sit things down over near the window in the sun to dry for a little bit. So my fairy's going to sit on here. What do I want to go with my fairy? I want magical and magic and everything else like that. So we'll just fiddle with this one. I want to say thank you all so much for watching me each week. I'm glad you're coming along for the ride. I'm hoping that you learn something a little bit new. Oh my gosh. See, I told you, I don't do up my lids. I'm back as we were. I'm hoping you're enjoying coming along for the ride, learning a few more tips and tricks. If not, I hope you're just having fun. Play. That's all I can say. Just play. There are so many things you can do with the bits that you have. Whenever I buy a new stamp, I will look at it and go, how many ways can I use this? What can I use this in? What can I do with this? Oh, now, I bought a new one the other day, and I put it, hang on, it's still here. Right. Christmas is nearly upon us. So most of us have finished all our Christmassy stuff. But I found this stamp. Look at this. Look at this awesome postcard. So I looked at this and went, yes, there's some Christmas ones in there. I will get lots of use out of those for Christmas because there's little Christmas wordings and there's gorgeous Santa and some postmark Christmas ones. But in amongst it, I've got this wonderful postmark. I've got this that's just not Christmas. This post office mail, wonderful postcard, stamp. The postcard section is a separate section. It's got my lines. There are so many bits on this that I can use for not just the specific item that it was. I plan to use this over and over and over again. So whenever I purchase a new stamp, I look at it and think, how many ways can I use this? If I can get more than 3 ways, it's a must-have. If I'm buying a stamp for just one specific reason, I've got to really think about it. There are so many things that we all want for our journals and for our stash and everything else. It's a matter of getting the most out of everything that you've got and being able to reuse them and utilise them in different ways. So always look at your stamps, always look at your inks, etc. Things that you're getting for your junk journal if you're going out and purchasing, at how many different ways you can utilise them. So once again today we've found a different way to use our stamps. Again, there are so many different ways. Sit at home, have a look at what you've got, play around, that's the ultimate thing, and see how much more reasons and excuses you can find, which is what it is for me, to purchase a stamp to make it go so much further. I hope you've enjoyed this. If you have, please hit like and subscribe. Don't forget the little notification bell. And until next time, keep stamping. Thanks, guys. Bye.